Good evening, everyone. This is it. 3 years, 4 months, 9 days to the day itself of a campaign where I'm not going to do a recap tonight because this is where it ends. So that's it from me. Content warnings do apply. There will be adult language, adult humour, expect emotions. But here we go. This is where we close campaign 2. Let's roll. Hello. Look at that. As well, a pretty much full roster for our final episode of Campaign 2. So I'm not going to labour this on too long. We've got a fair amount to get through tonight. Let's run down our lineup. I am Matt. I am your game master for the final time in Campaign 2. And I will be role-playing, no doubt, a lot of people tonight. So I'm not going to go through the list.
Hello, I am Dave, and I am playing Jewel of Shadows, the female Tabaxi rogue, for the last time.
Well, that seems weird to say, doesn't it? We've joked about doing it because we all thought we were going to die at some point, but this really is the final time that I, Danny, will be playing Lex Ordo, a UNT sorcerer. Fuck my life.
I'm Steve. I have been Siri, the elf druid fighter.
Damn. I'm Bodhi, and it's a pleasure to be back at the virtual table with all you beautiful people after Edgius's unseemly memory wipe. But man, what a journey, guys. I'm going to be playing Edgius for the last time, and that's going to be a blast.
Indeed. So, we're not gonna labour this too much. The only other thing I'm gonna say is for those expecting a Molten Magic Unrolled this week, there will not be one, as we are gonna do a longer sort of Campaign 2 debrief next week live on Twitch and YouTube. So with that being said, my friends, for the final time in Campaign 2, let's dive in. You left the Mournweald and arrived back in Union City to the early hours of the morning, where rather than celebrate, rather than revel in the moment, everybody just chose that moment to pause, to reflect, to rest. The Bastion itself has never quite felt the way it does now. Torches burn high. The ale, if you get any, is cold. As morning arrives for the first time in longer than most of you can honestly remember, there is nothing coming. There is nothing to do. No shadow at the edge of the map. No door you are afraid to open. The world is still standing. And so are most of you. It starts loud, the way these things always do. But as the day continues and the night begins to deepen, as the fire settles, rooms will grow quieter. rooms will grow more honest. We join the Planar Detective Agency in the afternoon after they have dealt with Aelfas, the closer. And when I say dealt, this is not an enemy that was killed, felled, banished. It is an enemy that was given a second chance. So my friends, look around you. Take a moment with what you see as people begin to prepare what is quite clearly going to be the night of celebration. In this immediate aftermath, Jewel, what are you doing?
Probably sitting with that drink and thinking, maybe even aloud if we were all around the table. I wonder where he is. What they're doing. Already, maybe. It was crazy.
That is a question I will not be able to let go anytime soon. I think I can't just forget. I'm going to want to know what he does next.
We made the right decision though, didn't we?
I honestly just think time will tell. But looking around, and what's weird to Lex is, I was expecting to come back and there'd be the leftover skirmishes, there'd be people who hadn't given up the fight yet, but the fact that it's all just, everyone kind of just, all the bad guys just packed up and went home, almost. It's just weird how long this has been building and how quickly it just stopped.
I am going to enjoy this as long as I can, but I do already feel there are going to be people who want to take advantage of this calm, fill the gap of what the Shrouded Lord left. I don't mean like fully in terms of like deity-wise, I just mean in terms of the chaos and the evil that he brought to this world. I don't think our work is over.
I'm so glad you said that.
I've been putting this off. I don't think I've even thought about it really. It's kind of just been shoved down, but I am still worried about what the Serpent's Cloak could be, and I think I want to make sure it doesn't go evil again.
I feel like a weight has been lifted because I've been so scared to tell you that I don't think I can stay here either. I've got things of myself to close, if you'll pardon the pun.
No, sure. What do you want to do? What should we do first?
Well, I kind of have to go it alone almost, but I need to go back to Mechanus. I need to confront Primus for what he did, for the part he played in this, and for the pawn that I feel like he made me.
Oh, okay.
And then obviously I want to go back and see my mom and my brother and make sure they're okay, and that part of the world is okay.
No, of course,
then ultimately,
you would. Yeah,
I will come back here to you guys if you will be here.
Of course we'll be here, Lex. If you feel like you need to do it alone, then yeah, I guess I'm probably going to be going off in a different direction with the Serpent's Cloak. Seems a little bit bittersweet to suddenly part ways again, but Yeah, no, I think you're right. I think we are going to have to. This is our home, though, yeah?
Yeah. It won't be for long. It'll just be, I don't know, a few weeks, however long you need to look at the Serpent's Cloak. It'll take me I can teleport to Salabar as best I can, but I'll need to establish teleportation circles while I'm there, probably. But I won't be gone long. I just want to close a few things off personally and make sure they're okay before I come back and start our new life, whatever it's going to be here.
Yeah, I don't think I'm suddenly be going off for years to hide in the Serpent's Cloak. I fully intend on basically being almost... These may be dreams or fantasies, but I feel the Serpent's Cloak need an anchor, a grounding.
Moral compass.
Yes, hopefully a moral compass. And again, please, I don't think I'm going to be some sort of bright shining star in their, community, in their gathering. Well, look at the morality of some of the decisions we've made. I don't think they're exactly wholly lawful. But I think we get what we need to done, and we do it, as you say, with a moral compass. And I want to ensure they keep that. The Silent Order of Sithoras.
Well done.
Oh, fucking hell.
Only 3 years.
Only took 3 years.
I was practicing it in the fucking shower and I kept saying syphilis, alright? So I'm glad I got it out, alright. I think they could be both useful, and maybe with a liaison between the two of them, maybe I can be of use. But I feel that I need to ensure they, and by that I mean the Serpent's Cloak, do not fall foul again. It's going to be a hard task, but I hope I can do it.
And although I will be leaving momentarily, it won't be until tomorrow, so we'll have tonight.
Oh yeah, that's a given. I'm not letting you go.
Yeah.
You're not going that easy.
For those playing the home game, we'll be shagging.
That's on your bingo
you had
card.
that on your bingo card. Whoever had the sweepstakes, it's happening. But I also want to know, you, Siri. I will keep my promise to you. If you still want to find whatever you were looking for, I promised I would help you do that when this was all over. If that's something you still want to do.
Siri, we're right there with you, and we know that you have put everything aside to help us. Do not think we won't do the same for you.
There is time.
God, it feels so weird to believe you on that. Everything has been crunch time. Everything has been, we don't have time to rest. And while I feel like we don't, it doesn't feel like there's not an incoming storm, just a to-do list.
There is time to rest. But I think if we reflect on a lot of what we have heard and seen, there is still only ever so much time. And I would urge both of you to do what you need to do. But don't lose what matters. I kind of look pointedly at both of them.
I'm hoping with just a couple of things I need to do that it will bring everything that matters to me together.
And what if it doesn't, Lex? What if you go there and there's something else that needs sorting out, and then something else, and the years go by?
I can promise you now that it'd be months tops that I'll be gone. And that's only if my teleportation circle fails.
Right way of sunshine you are, Siri.
Yeah.
It's not.
But
me I'm
he's right,
asking.
though. I mean, how distracted have we got doing this, and how many people have we forgot to keep in contact with and not talk to? Don't give me a sending stone. I won't use it.
It's not me that you need to promise, and I'm not meaning to be a downer. Far from it. It's good. But there are things that we now have time to address. But at the same time, there's also time for the important things that there has not been room for until now. Don't lose the important things. It doesn't need to be another adventure. There doesn't need to be another quest. There doesn't need to be another journey.
That's a good point, Lex. I know you want to get your family. But should we not relish in a little bit of time?
My trousers are already off.
And I believe you have another family that you are now expected to perhaps get to know. I'm not saying don't do what you need to do.
I plan on converging the Of Shadows, the Ordonises, the Bucklands, the surname I can't pronounce for you, Siri. I want my real family and my found family to be here with me.
Sorry, you can't pronounce Zavi.
Oh, I thought the whole thing was that's just your middle name? Fucking hell. Okay,
No, Zavi is my surname.
cool. I've realized actually I've never even attempted to say it, and now is not really the time. But, you know.
Don't spoil the moment.
You have to spell it for me phonetically in the group chat for me to even attempt that.
No, I think we just put it out there and you have to figure it out.
Roll
Sure,
an
Sally.
intelligence for Danny.
Yeah. I will say, as there is this brief moment of natural pause, then of silence, while you all reflect on what was said. The party begins around you. The bastion begins to bustle. There are mages, there are druids, there are allies, there are people of Union City, there's your own guards. Everybody, the tavern outside the bastion, or just outside the bastion, absolutely roaring trade tonight, and somehow the ale and the wine keeps flowing. Somehow. So again, I invite you in this moment, in this immediate aftermath, if there's anybody you wish to speak to, if there's anything else you wish to say to each other, like, this is the immediacy right now.
I'll be honest, I was expecting there to be some fixing we had to do back here when I was expecting there to be more aftermath here, and it's suspiciously calm. If you get what I mean. Oh, I thought there'd be wounded to tend to and there'd be wraiths that we had to deal with when we got back. It's just... And so Lex probably let himself enjoy that. Sorry, Steve.
I ran an errand this morning, but otherwise things seem to be taking care of themselves.
I mean, Lex could cast Wish to make sure nobody in Union City has a hangover tomorrow. That could be the best thing he could probably do for everyone.
Well, none of us are stopping you.
With that wish.
Everyone's got hang-unders
Everybody
instead.
stays permanently drunk forever.
Jewel goes over to her family, to her parents and her sister. And
You see them in the corner.
Checks that they're okay.
Standing next to Mace. Mace has got a massive dent across one side of his armor, and you can just see bronze sort of poking at it a little bit. Paige is sort of there, just observing. I could probably sort this out. Little hammer here. Does it come off? Can I remove... Mace has just done it. I have never really tried, but the foot fell off. So maybe the chest will come off too. At which point Dream is there like, maybe we just... maybe we have this discussion closer to home. Ah, Jewel, my daughter. What a good sight. Beautiful you are. And Dream pulls you into the biggest hug going. You feel something warm and wet sort of catch in the fur on your cheek as she lets a few unbidden tears escape.
Thought you were going to say Lex.
After a nice long hug, she will pull away, and you just see that she's sort of that the happy smile, happy cry sort of thing as well, and looks up and just goes, "I'm so glad all of this is behind us, and I'm so glad to see you all."
Your father is very silent in this moment as he sort of looks down on you. Stoic. And Bronze then sort of just shoots a little slingshot. And the next minute you see a mug of ale just knock off a tray and flip and land perfectly next to you. Is that one's for you, sister?
You're getting really good at this. I'll grab it and I'll pick it up. But I will then, with my other hand, grab hold of Paige's hand. And just go, "Hey, we made it. Lex and Siri made sure that I came home."
Yes. Yes, they did. Yes, they did. And then he just pulls you in for a hug.
She probably, going through her head, she doesn't really want to say this now, but it is that she was worried about leaving her family, but she never really thought about what it would be for her family, what they were going through, because they were just so in it, and it's just, we've got to do this. So this is a bit of a shock to her, and just a bit of that, like, thankfully, because everything's okay, she's just like, everything's okay. So, what's it like being back in Union City?
Strangely, it is pleasant.
Not the Union City you knew?
Less of the people who run us out, shall we say.
I'm very glad to hear of that. I hope you'll stay another couple days, maybe a week, before heading back.
You are coming with us, yes?
I'll come with you to make sure everyone's home. Unfortunately, I don't think everything is entirely done yet. I hope to still have a connection both here and in Stone Park. I'm looking forward to being able to stay in the area again. But I had dealings when I left the first time. I had dealings with the Serpent's Cloak. A very bad group of the Serpent's Cloak. And I intend to make sure that that bad group has gone, and that the Serpent's Cloak returns to some semblance of a useful underground of society, and not a menace.
Sounds to me that you are leaving us, but in the way a daughter should leave her family. Not for danger or for folly, but for
Purpose.
Purpose.
Yes. It's weird to have had purpose for so long, but for it to now feel like I had the choice. I have the choice of it. It feels quite freeing.
Indeed, it is a brave new world, it seems.
Yes, and I want to keep it that way. I'm sure you would know, and possibly even better than me, some people are going to try and take advantage of the calm. I won't feel truly like I can relax until I know I've made sure that calm can stay.
Yes. This I understand. Oh, it will be hard to see you go again.
Well, perhaps you might be able to... I don't know. I think there are contracts for weapons in Union City needed for some of the higher echelons, some of their guards, some of their private forces. Perhaps if you were to organize these and you were able to bring them over, maybe there's a chance we'll see more of each other.
Nice. How do you feel about being a little bit of a courier guard? Well, one has nothing better to do, so sure. And you did promise to bang my chest out. At this point, Bronze snorts into her ale.
Well,
And even Dreams just sort of scratching
I didn't
her
realise
chin at
Black
this point.
Panthers could go red.
I did really well to leave that one alone. I just like the world to recognise.
Dream is just there. Well,
I think you need another drink.
I agree, daughter. Now, where is Lex?
I was just about to say, actually, at that moment, you see a weirdly chipper, energetic, happy Lex, because he's obviously been somber and serious for the last... Come over and just be like, may I have this lady's hand for a dance? I don't know why he went British, but, you know, he's happy and he's pissed. And he would,
Have you been
he would
on
like
the
to...
ale, Lex?
Maybe. I have quite the small constitution when it comes to ale, so I've only had 7, which Lex gets pissed on like 1, so he is having a wonderful time.
At this point, Paige turns to you and says, "And which lady's hand are you asking for specifically?"
Oh,
I think Jewel looks
why-
really mischievous at that point as well.
is it customary that I dance with your mother first? Is that what I have to do?
You don't have to do anything, Lex.
Paige, I'm going to need some help here, man. I just want to dance with Jewel, but if I have to dance with Paige...
Jewel, save the poor fellow from any more embarrassment, for Christ's sake. For God's sake.
Pull him away onto the dance floor.
That went well, I
Like
think.
Dream just leans into Paige. He's going to be a welcome addition to the family, I think. Well, it can't get much worse than that.
And Lex's form of dancing is a bit like how people who listen to ska dance, which is a UNT traditional form of dancing. Obviously.
Ranking.
Yeah. Wait, Dirty Wayne in. That's what I'll be doing. I'll be doing a whip. I'll be doing a nay-nay. I'll be doing all sorts.
I would also say at this point it's possibly the first time that a good proportion of the people in the room have ever seen Jewel without the cape on and the hood. that she feels safe enough for once that has been draped over our chairs or something.
Excellent. The red cape is left draped over a chair.
I hate it when he makes a note and I'm
nobody-
suddenly like he's going to be
nobody can see
fucking
the
gone.
chair.
Like nobody's seen the chair.
Somebody trips over a stool that was suddenly invisible. Yeah. As Lex and Jewel dance, then Siri, what are you doing this moment?
So
In fact,
things-
Siri made a mention earlier of something happened this morning, so we're gonna take a brief to this morning, Siri.
Yeah, so early, on account of the whole not sleeping thing, Suri had I'd gone initially for a bit of a walk around town, just soaking in the peace and the quiet. And there's not really many people about, but that was because they were resting and not because they were hiding. And as he wandered, he passed and then doubled back the bank, or the central financial building which he'd made himself so welcome at before.
The Grendale District.
And being what I think it's fair to describe as a major account holder these days, or at least somebody owes them an awful lot of money.
It's still an account.
Yeah, negative, still a number. So he goes into the front desk. Morning.
There's a really bored sort of actuary there, just writing in a ledger. It just looks at, yes, sorry, yes, Miss Master Elf. Yes, sorry, you.
Suri is fine.
Sorry, yes.
No, just Suri. I don't have a title.
Okay.
Could I have a piece of paper and and something to write, please?
Literally tears a page out of the ledger, which is also dated and marked, and is going to know it's gone missing, but places it in front of you, then very quickly throws an inkwell which spills, and then they sort of pick that up and sort of blot it out and then hand you a quill. Anything else? Warm mug of morning coffee or tea or ale? Anything?
I don't think anybody is paid enough to be as nervous as you are. But that will be fine. And he leans forward. Hang on a minute, actually. He leans forward and... first of all, I'd like to use shape water on the ink to get it back in the well.
Oh. Thank you.
And he leans forward. He kind of quickly scratches out a note. There's signs with a absolutely, quite obviously enormous flourish. And then looks at the clerk and goes, "It's very, very important that this gets to the right people." And before they can react, pulls out a dagger that apparently I've had in my inventory since God knows when, and just slams it through the middle of the paper. "You're probably going to want to let them know that this is waiting for them." Reach into my pocket.
Feel like they might see it.
Pull out a sizable uncounted handful of gold coins. Give it to them and say, "Hopefully this pays you enough to not be this nervous. Good luck in your future endeavours."
They take this handful of gold and look around nervously, and then slip it in their robe pocket. I might just take the day off.
Seems like a good idea. And just turns around and walks away.
Good. The Lord Horace Grendale later on that morning would walk into this particular branch of the bank to find no clerk, no actuary, but a knife embedded into one of the central desks with a note. As he reads the note then, Siri, what does it say?
No profiteering. Now is the time to pay it forward. And then just Suri's name signed.
The Lord rolls up the note, pulls out the knife with a little bit of a struggle. Now's the time indeed. All of the restoration efforts that are needed in the lower tiers of Union City throughout the rest of the immediate days and weeks are mysteriously funded. Schools across the city are also given funds to provide education to anyone who asks for it. Temples are stripped down of their riches. As to why, we will figure that out shortly. All apart from one. We return to that evening. The immediate aftermath as Jewel and Lex dance in the centre of a throng of people. Suri, in this moment then, as your friends dance before you, Cavan and Mara are seen in a corner, nursing a small bundle. Suri, what are you doing in this moment?
I think initially Suri would be, I suppose to some extent, playing the returning hero, quite uncharacteristically jovial, speaking to people friendly, particularly anyone who had been involved in the defence of Union City, who'd been prepared to lay down their lives if we not succeeded in what we'd set out to do. He would have gone over to Cavan and Mara and wished them the very best. And then I think he would have got a couple of tankards of ale, and he'd have wandered off to one of the edge of one of the tiers, found a quiet spot, and stood there and kind of held one of the ales out to the side and said, "Usually you just appear when somebody asks for you, so my Lord of Winter, I assume you're not missing the party."
Would I miss something as so unabashedly fey as this? As the Lord of Winter steps out of an icy cloud.
Oh no. Oh no.
So I pass the ale to him.
Takes a sip. Does not thank you.
There's a wry smile, as what Suri was about to say was, "I would thank you for your assistance, but your kind make it very difficult. So you do not have my thanks." But you do have my respect.
This is a worthy gift of sorts, but not one I would expect any payment for.
It is not payment, it is... It is not payment. It is kindness. There's been too little of that. I do have a question.
Well, I suppose I can answer at least one.
They live very briefly. And I suppose to you, so do I.
Longer than most.
How is it you deal with it all being so fleeting?
For me and my kind, it is, well, one might call it the poetry of life. The beginning, the end, the ebbs and flows, the rises and falls. One might attribute it to a song.
A sad ballad indeed. And there is enough misery. I don't wish to dwell on celebrating more.
Would one call it a ballad of misery or sadness? Only if that is what you see in life. For us, we see the beauty, even those of us from the darker course.
And when that beauty fades, what? You carry it, or you forget?
This is what mortals fail to realize. That there is beauty even in the fading, the dying, the ending.
The watching.
The closing.
Thank you. I suspect you may be a little more welcome than you usually would. Join the festivities. May do you some good. And after that, just behave.
That sounds almost like a threat. The element of Ashanti.
I think that's probably what you perceive in it.
Very true. In this, I choose no act, for in doing what you have done, my kind are returned. And not just returned, but all the stronger for it.
Just remember.
I will. Will you?
I fear I have no choice. That is, I suspect, probably my role in all of this. Hence my conundrum.
Immortals all seem to struggle with this concept of choice, as if you don't have it, or it is made for you. I hope times like that are changing.
I think what you immortals misunderstand is that mortality makes choice struggle, because you only have so much time to make so many.
This is the poetry of life, Siri.
Siri kind of stares off into the distance for a moment. Kind of raises his drink and just says, "To the poetry of life."
To the sad ballad. I will be watching you most earnestly.
And are you? And just nod, and then turns and returns to the party and goes back to the drinks and the back slapping and the telling of tales.
The Lord of Winter turns and looks out into the night sky, up towards the moon. Yes. Choice. And fades in a flurry of snow. Forever on this tier and this part of Union City, a petrified tree will forever stand. White, pure, and always cold to the touch. Back in the party, a familiar figure saunters up to you, Siri. Her hat long discarded, no pistols at her side. Well, are we going to go for round two?
But there are celebrations afoot.
Well, that just depends on how long it's going to take you, darling.
I suppose I could maybe spare you a minute.
Then let's make the most of that minute, shall we? Siri and Valor step outside. All of you in this moment, for whatever reason, for whatever moment you're in right now, feel a sense of warmth. And also like a familiar hand touches your shoulder. Something. Can't quite place what. Towards the end of the night, then, the mood begins to soften. people begin to drift. What do we do as the night starts to close? Lex.
Well, I hope Jewel is as appreciative of 1 minute as Suri's piece is going to be.
I didn't realize tonight's epilogue was just going to be horny. Like, I definitely did not get the horny memo.
Hang on a minute. You're with this group, and you didn't think that we were going to make it incorrect.
We had to have a quota of Fade to Black.
Yeah. Lex will spend the whole night thinking, if only we had a bard in our group that could have told this story and put it into some cool songs that would go into the end of time. But we never met one. We never knew one. Never mind.
Right in the feels.
No, but noticing after dancing with Jewel, he will also dance with Dream. He'll dance with Bronze. He'll do an awkward handshake hug to Paige. But then he'll spend some time with Cavan and Mara, because he just to say, really set the scene that he will be going away for a while, but when he comes back, he definitely wants to fulfill his job as Uncle Lex. And then
Mara
at that
sort
point,
of lets you hold the baby. Small.
and you just awkwardly hold a baby that you don't know what to do with. You're just like,
She's
don't
never
drop it, don't drop it, don't drop it, don't drop it.
This baby is tiny. It was born prematurely.
Okay.
Because of the stress of all of it.
But Mara looks down on this beautiful child nonetheless. Well, we expect you to hold to your promises, Lex.
Haven't I always?
Pelagius will need you.
Oh, that's a nice name. Why does it feel like I already know that? Strange.
You're not sure. Yes. And at this point, Cavan just turns. Yeah, it's Aegeus Heron Buckland. Just came to us.
That is beautiful, actually. I feel like I know him already. I can't wait to teach him all the things that uncles teach people. I don't know. I'm going to have to read up on that. But I'll always be there for him, whatever he needs. And you too.
Lex. You got Callum, yeah?
Oh, he is super dead. Yeah, we fucked him up. Sorry, I swore in front of the child. I'm sorry.
Oh, he's heard worse already. Don't worry about it.
Okay, good. Yeah. Yeah.
Fucking Callum.
Do you know what the best bit was? You could see the defeat in his eyes before we won. That he knew we'd got him. That was the best bit.
Did we ever find out why he was, or what he did? Why he did it?
Did we? I'll be honest. I didn't really ask many questions. I just tried to remove his head from his body, mostly.
Such is the nature of betrayal.
Yeah.
Oh well, fuck him.
I hope the afterlife is terrible for him.
If he indeed gets one.
That's true. That is true. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some feline agility to contend with, so I'll see you in the morning.
Cavan literally sort of punches you in the arm and gives you a wink.
Wish me luck.
You will not need it, Lex.
As he starts limbering up, stretching his hamstrings.
While this has been going on, what's Jewel been doing?
I think just with this party, he's just enjoying the party. Probably looking over at the conversation, just going. I just didn't want to overcrowd them all, but he's going. She'll try and find a way to have a conversation with them about her plans for the Serpent's Cloak, knowing that they've got connections to the Silent Order, and therefore to be like, heads up, this is what we're planning. I'm planning.
Do you return to your cape?
Yeah.
Tucked inside the hood is a note. Folded bit of parchment.
I shall read it.
As you open it, there are no words, no letters, no writing. Instead, there is a symbol. A symbol that you recognize as that of the Silent Order.
Do I recall how to read their letters?
You know that heat helps.
I will probably then briefly pop away from the festivities, pop into the library or the archive where there will be a fire going, so that she can read this in private and she'll get it near the fire so that she can get it hot and so that she can read it.
Very good. You hold it above a flame and just sort of try to heat it up. Try to understand what this letter might say. And find no words. But instead, at your ear, a familiar voice from a long time ago. When you're ready, Jewel, we will be here. As you turn your head, you see Cloak whip round the corner.
I think she gets the impression that while she knows that she's doing the right thing, she's got a lot to learn. But that at least this wasn't a stop what you're doing and more of a affirmation that this is the right path. And we'll then decide, we'll throw that into the fire. And then head back up to find Lex making a lewd joke and smiling.
Very good.
The words
You
"keep
return.
up" are going to be used. You're muted, Danny.
I was hilarious as well. I said, it's okay. I got some blue pills from a dwarf who told me they would help.
Crodmar wanders off, just whistling. People begin to drift. At some point, you cannot say exactly when, you notice that Siri is not where he was. The seat is empty. Siri, I'll take it from here.
So, I think Siri would have been, as I said, mingling as the crowds kind of start to thin a bit. He'd have been sat with whoever, quite possibly people like Brom and others, over one of the benches outside the... Sorry?
Brom, one of the few who is not there.
Oh, okay. Well, whoever was.
Yep.
And sat on one of the pub benches outside the tavern attached to the bastion. Talking and that weird part of a late night outside, clear evening. It's convivial but cold and fresh, and everything seems kind of sharp but also indistinct. There's the chatter of back and forth and laughter and drinks. And he would sort of stand and say, I'm going, another round, yes? And head into the tavern and go up to the barkeep. Order a very large round of drinks. And yeah, they'll come and get it in a minute. And kind of look around and nod to himself and walk out of the door and slip off to the side along one of the terraces and down some of the steps and quietly make his way out of Union City. You're on mute now.
I was indeed, because I was making a joke at Dave in the background. Anyway. The rest of you notice at some point that Siri is not where he was. His seat is empty, and on the bar a round sits untouched, freshly poured, going ever so slowly flat. No note beside it, no farewell, just the drink and the absence. Both of you, Jewel and Lex, in the morning following your rather prolonged dalliance, actually. In the pocket of your coat, Lex, underneath the door, a letter written in Siri's hand. Now, Steve, I don't know if you had the contents of these letters planned. Do we do Siri and Jewel first, then? Or was it to all of them?
The same note.
Very good. Then it's to...
Having taken a punt on the fact they'd probably be sleeping in the same room.
Fair enough. There you go. Single note tucked into
Awfully
the
bold
pocket
of you to assume.
of Lex's duster coat, discarded over a chair along with a pair of socks.
No, Lex keeps his socks on, mate. Come on.
Dude, I literally thought as you said that, nah, Lex leaves the socks on.
Very good. Steve, what does the letter say?
There are some promises we have no right to expect others to keep, especially those we wish to keep safe from harm. Should the world will it, we shall return when the task is done. Live well. Be happy. and forgive a foolish man his fear of goodbyes.
I think Jewel reads that quite quietly, then hands it over to Lex. Doesn't actually read it aloud.
It's nice not to be the emotionally stunted one in the group anymore, to be honest. But I think I can forgive him this goodbye, because I also am fearing the goodbye I have to say to you soon. So I can't hold it against him too much. But I will return as he says he will. But if push comes shove, we'll go find him. He's not getting away from us that easy. Not after all we've been through.
Oh, you're damn right. I just didn't think that Victory would feel this shit.
That's all of the ale.
No, for you maybe. We're all just going our separate ways. I know we're all coming back, but we just completed everything, and now we're heading off in different directions.
I know, but if you think about it, your family's already here. You want to make sure they're safe.
I do.
I haven't seen mine in a long time, and Suri's got unfinished business. Like I said, it says.
Look, Lex, I would come with you to get your family. My plans will still be here when I come back, but I do understand your need for. Maybe you need to do that to yourself. And if that's the case, I get it. Going. You said you wanted to go to Mechanus, yes?
Yeah.
That I'm gonna have to leave you to do.
And that's why I thought, of course, I'd want you to come with me to get my mom and my brother, but I'll be going there from Mechanus, so it's a bit more tricky.
Oh, I did not realize this was going to be, as you say, the more emotional and sucky part of this. Perhaps we do rip the band-aid off and we go.
So we just say, I love you, bye, and we just leave? Is that what we do?
I mean, breakfast, at the very least. Just, look, it feels weird. Does it not feel weird to, just... I don't know what you want to do. Spend a couple of days? I want it to be the... I want to have something to look forward to.
Ooh, well, why don't I do the Mechanus bit by myself? And then I come back here and we do the take your family home and go to my family together bit.
I would like that a lot, Lex. I think to combine our families back in one area together. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, my mom, hopefully, well, she was catatonic last time I see her, but I'm hoping that what I will do will help bring her around, and then seeing you may help.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I would like that. Look, again, I know, I think knowing that my plans, that I can come back here and most likely find you would be very beneficial. And so I think having all of our families here before we set out on our longer term plans are ideal.
I definitely want this to be our, base of operations. I got to get out of mission mode. I want us to be our home where we forge our future. And I just thought that I'm still not quite used to, I can go on this journey. I don't have to do it on my own. This personal stuff, I can do it with the support of others, with loved ones. And it would actually be a great support to me if you would come to Salibur to get my mum and brother.
All you had to do was ask, and of course I will. Yes. Look, how long is he going to take you in Mechanus? Should I start my plans, or leave that till later?
Well, I'm thinking...
Is it like the Feywild? Are you going to be gone months?
Oh, God, I hope not. I was thinking day tops.
Okay.
I'm going to go there, say my piece, leave.
Fine.
I'll take Cog with me. He may want to return home, but I'll let that be his choice.
What? No. Oh? What? Cog's going to stay there?
Well, technically, his directive was to make sure I'm safe and do what we needed to do, and we've done that. So his mission is over. He may be recalled. He may have to go back, but like I said, I think he's learned a bit of free will spending his time with us. So I'm hoping he'll make the choice that's right for him. Either way, I'll be back tomorrow.
She looks distant for a minute because she realizes what you're doing, and that's to go and talk to Cronus. Probably doesn't say anything after that. She just, looks back and goes, "No, okay. When do you want to do this? When do you want to go?"
Well, like I say, I need to wash up, have some breakfast, like you say, a nice little meal with the family, and then I'll be on my way and I should hopefully be back in time for supper.
That sounds good. I'm still mad at him. And she's pointing at the letter from Siri.
So at this point, there is a rather violent knock on your door.
Yes, what?
Hang on, I've got no pants on.
I'll go up to the door and open it so that they can't look past me.
You see the face of Aramis, aka Daryl, the ginger druid from Drymere.
Fucking gang!
Yes?
I need you to come quick.
What's happening?
It's Brom.
Okay. I will. I'll follow and probably turn back and go. Will.
I've already shuffled some trousers on and I'm following you out the door.
Okay. I'll follow.
Aramis leads you to what was the makeshift infirmary. And there are a number of beds in here that you'd kind of missed before. People there, minor wounds. Maybe I say minor wounds, like a broken arm, fractured collarbone. Like somebody with a jaw wired shut because they broke their jaw.
Mine for magic.
But in a bed by themselves, surrounded by a number of mages and druids, lies Brom.
Daryl, what happened to him?
It's Aramis, but he was protecting us in the Mournweald, and a wraith struck him in the heart. We've tried everything, but it's not working.
Do you know what it is? Is it like a consumption? Is it a poison?
At this point, Brom raises a weak hand. It is the end of an old man's journey, Lex. Let it be what it is.
We can't have come for all of this just for you to die on us now. I can try and help.
This is the natural order of things. We druids have had a benefit of living long lives. But there are some things that not even the power of nature can combat.
really
You see these dark tendrils, sort of veins almost bleeding outwards from his heart. Every time the heart beats, there is a dark pulse that waves through his body.
stupid question. We have been insanely close to the closer. Does there feel any, like, presence of him now?
Good question.
Go on then, Jewel. You've asked the question. Make me a roll. Let's have either a perception or an arcana check. An arcana check will have a lower DC.
It's gonna have to be perception, and I think that's very apt for Jewel regardless, because just Arcana's not her thing. It is a 25.
With a 25. The way Brom describes the predicament just has echoes of the way that the closer spoke, wrote, whatever it is you recall from those pages.
Yeah, it's not like the this is bad, but it could be fixed if you find the really difficult thing to find to help me to. It's like, no, I know this is. We're in a magic world, and yeah, he's going. There's nothing you can do for me. It just felt so closer-ish.
Lex, make me an arcana check, please. Or an insight check, actually. Either one will do.
Best I could do is a 15 on that.
You look at the mages. Was that arcana or insight?
Insight.
The mages' faces are white, paler than they should be. Brom looks amongst you all. Don't be so solemn, friends. I have walked this world for an age and more. It's time my story closed.
Jules going to
not
sit
bothered
down
to help.
at the side of the bed. Sorry, as Lex says.
That's why you finish.
No, you.
I was just going to say, you've not brought us here to help, have you? You've just brought us here to say goodbye.
I brought you here to witness and to understand that all things must end. Aramis. At this point, Aramis steps. Says nothing, but sort of bows his head and holds Brom's hands in his own. That I am here is yours now, Aramis. I pass on the mantle of Archdruid to you. You have protected the region with a power and grace that I long overlooked. Look after it. There is a faint green glow within the hands of Aramis, of Darrell, as Brom's eyes look towards the jewel, to the sky, and then he just looks to the side, outside, to a tree in full bloom, if you like, green leaves. Oh. Brom of the Moors passes from this world.
Jewel hums a morning song from Stonebark, from the Drymerian region, and just starts humming it.
A period of mourning is held in the days and months that follow in Dryad's Grate. following the passing of Brom. Eventually, the day you are all present for, bar maybe Siri, who knows. He is buried. He is interred beneath the central tree of Dryad's Gate. It is said from that night forward that that central tree glowed with a green light every time the sun set, every night, without fail. It is at this point, my friends, that we move beyond the immediate aftermath and into the world responding to what follows. I have told you the story of Brom, but there are others. Mara Blackveil. In the immediate aftermath, newly married, survived a premature birth during a world-ending crisis. Her and her baby. Her love. In time, Mara becomes not just a figurehead, but the full matriarch of House Blackveil. Still seductive, still shrewd, always 3 steps ahead, something that irritates Cavan to no end. But she and her beloved Cavan are remarkable parents. Takami Ito always carried a sadness, something she couldn't put her finger on. And it was revealed not long after the fall of the Shrouded Lord that she was pregnant. Her pregnancy carried an air of scandal, something that was quickly and firmly put down by the monks of Kumo Ryu. Cavan, Mara, helped Takami, helped her to be a mother, helped her through these scandals. At some point following the immediate birth of her child, she visited the Amethyst Great Worm Shin Ryu for a final conversation. Who knows what was said in that moment? But it is said it is the last time the dragon spoke to any of the monks, any of the defenders, before returning to an endless slumber in the mountain. Takami herself continued as defender of Kumo Ryu, but she often ventures down into Union City, spending time with Mara and Cavan and the Planar Detective Agency, a family of a strange and incomplete shape. Vala, Crodmar, Dis, Romeo, Tyragar and Senfra, the crew of the Ebon Mirth. Not long after the celebrations at the Bastion, an airship went missing. One that had been christened the Ebon Mirth 3.0. Vala Zether, for at least a day, spent some time searching for someone. A brief dalliance, something she wished to revisit. Finding nothing but an empty flagon and a thought of what could be. But before they abscond with the ship, Dis finds Ulex not long after the immediate passing of Brom. I didn't want to interrupt. You okay?
I think I will be, yeah.
Well, I don't think we're gonna hang around for too long. So I kind of wanted to come and say goodbye.
It's so hard to do. I haven't mastered it yet.
Well, you cost me one machine. Help me build another. As I suddenly remember what accent this had. You know, if you ever need us, just call. Like,
I was literally about to say the same thing.
God, I hate these things. Like, I know I'm going to see you again.
Can we just say see you later? Because
I love that. Like that. Yeah. See you. I don't know on the. I want to say on the waves, but we're in an airship, so.
I think.
See you in the clouds.
We'll be. I don't know what's going to happen with the Planar Detective Agency, but it's going to need couriers, crew. It's going to hopefully expand in the future, so I would definitely be in need of your services and your friendship.
Romeo's got some other ideas, but look.
Hey, if you need help covering up some crimes, I probably know somebody who could do that too.
She holds up the sending stone. We're only a call away.
I don't know how to use those things, man. I'm not very good at it. I think if you call me, I forget it's in this big bag of holding. I forget what's in there. But if you call, I'll answer.
Let me do this. And she reaches into the bag of holding and pulls the sending stone out, puts it in your jacket pocket, where Cog usually sits. Don't take that out.
Right. Okay.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, and here. And she takes out a pair of pristine tinker's tools. Whenever you need to dabble.
Thank you.
Right, that's it. I suck at goodbyes. See ya. And she fucks off. Rend at this point is just stood in the room, sort of looking. Well, that's inconvenient. Goodbye.
Salutations, Ren.
Salutes. Turns, stomps out. While this is happening, Romeo finds Jewel.
Romeo.
Horrible morning for that sort of news. You okay?
No. You?
Never. God, we've lost a lot.
I thought we'd be done with it. I'm feeling worse now than after or before, even. Anyway, keep a heads up.
Lex clearly needs to improve his technique. God, that was such a shit joke.
No, it really was.
Yeah.
Hey, look. I'm gonna assume we're gonna need to entirely abuse our friendship again and ask for some sort of trip at some point. So
I would think less of you if you didn't. Being totally candid. Full transparency.
Yeah.
This is working on something with Lex to make sure we can at least stay in touch this time.
Good. We are really terrible at that. So look, I am legitimately going to be potentially all over the place over the coming months, crikey, maybe even years. So there is a possibility that you will just see me at a random port and I will want to lift home.
That we can do.
Lovely.
There was one thing I needed to mention. Like, it's been a long time, but we've had feelers out for news of people we knew. There's supposedly a head on a pike in a fighting ring south of Thalissa. Tiefling head, white hair. Doesn't look like it ended well.
Right. Oh, okay. Oh.
Yeah.
Seriously? More bad news to me? Really? Oh.
I didn't want to bring it, but it was there and it was done. I figured, just, you know what, rip the band-aid off.
Rip the band-aid off this. We'll pour one out. Okay. Thank you for letting me know.
Well, I mean, it is what it is, but hell, at least they went out fighting, I guess. So
it's what they loved.
Yeah. Right. Well, we have things to do and
like bring me back good news next time.
You
know.
Well, here's some good news.
Oh.
I have a ship, and with that, Romeo fucks off. And within about 10 minutes, you just hear a lot of clamoring and alarm bells ringing as an airship soars into the sky. The Ebonmer 3.0. Free to do what they will. In the longer term, stories are told of a fabled air crew who became a pirate consortium of sorts. Eventually, their ship had to return to the sea. And they sailed and plundered.
Did he find the One Piece and become king of the pirates?
Who knows? It is at this point, my friends, that I think we will take our break. There are more stories to be told.
Just get started.
Really are.
After the break, as we then go into our medium-term stories and what happens to our characters. So thank you all for joining us in this first half. Let's see what else becomes of our players and our characters.
Hello.
Hello. We are back for now what is the final half of our epilogue. So we're going to dive straight back in. We have spoken about Brom. We have spoken about Mara, Takami, crew of the Ebonmer. Our focus now turns to those mages of the Crystalline Isle. Lex doesn't realise in the moment, but with that insight check, seeing that the mages were white, something has begun to shift for the arcane mages. They begin to recede from the wider world, going underground of sorts. They feel a change before anybody else can name it. However, one mage always remained at the Planar Detective Agency Bastion. Indeed, it became a rite of passage for high mages. Steve holds his head. Mage number 11.
Fucking Jeff. I knew there was something I meant to do before I fucked off.
We have definitely got a mini series that is the Adventures of Jeff.
Well, it was Jeff, Jeff 2, Jeffrey, Jeffon, and whoever. Yes, a number of mages over time stayed within the headquarters, within the Bastion. It became a rite of passage for those wishing to become high mages, a period of service under the agency before returning to who knows where. Although, as the future passes and time continues, no one quite remembers why or who established this tradition. The longer fate of the crystalline circle is something that we will discover as we move into campaign 3. Mace, the lost paladin of Paragon. For a time, this warforged, this automaton, was lost. A strange band of individuals absconding with a metal foot from a battlefield they found led to a warforged finding a village of Tabaxi. Stonebark village. Which led to Mace finding a family, a purpose. In the aftermath of the closer's second chance, Paragon becomes a core deity. Distant, but restored. Mace himself becomes a protector of Stonebark Village. He builds over an old well, which is forever banned from use. A temple. A temple raised against the shadows. One that he calls the Vigil of Paragon. So that should darkness rise again, it will be met with the radiant glory of that god. He becomes family to the Of Shadows clan. He and Bronze indeed become inseparable. As the years pass, he watches over her children, their children's children, for as long as Stonebark stands. As centuries pass, the Warforged begins a silent vigil, appearing not as a living being, but as a statue at the entrance to the Vigil of Paragon, a guardian. The village continues and grows up certain that he is watching. And they are right. The city of Thalissa was one which was ruined by the incursion of the Shadowfell. The Agora, the Acropolis, the Temple of Clothis lay in ruins. But from the help of the region of Gildorn, it is rebuilt into the Great Gate City, one of two between Enoeth and the Auroran Empire. In Rosendum, things slowly but surely begin to return to normal. Or at least as normal as they can be. For at the top of the tower of the keep, in the throne room, no one knows why, no one knows how, but a sword remains embedded. A great sword, perfectly forged, stands upright. And for ages, ages of man, ages of elves, ages of everything, no one is able to truly shift the sword. It becomes a legend, a myth almost, except for those who are granted entrance into this room, which, after a while, does not become a throne room, but more of a shrine to the sword, to something, to whatever it was that left this weapon. In the weeks and months that follow, each of our characters begin to move in their own way, do their own tasks. We are going to come to each of our players in turn now. However, for all of you, for Siri, for Jewel, for Lex, there is a feeling you can't quite name at all times almost. Like something warm that has just turned its attention to you, like being watched, but not in a way that feels threatening, more like witness. Lex, you spend some time, and it is a little bit of a struggle, but eventually you are able to pass into Mechanus. Exactly as you remember it. Perfect. Endless. Great gears turning with a patience that has no interest in you, but you are not here for the gears. You know what you came to say. You have known since the moment you returned from the Mornweald. As you enter into this plane, a familiar figure steps forward and draws back a hood. Axel, the Warforged. The one lost in Mechanus, who became part of Mechanus and helped you on your early journey. He is waiting.
Take me to him.
Axel leads you across a number of gears on a journey that feels like it takes days, but in the same time takes maybe an hour. And eventually you are led to a central tower where Karg and Axel remain outside, but you are granted entry. As you climb this tower, this pinnacle, and reach the top, what you find is not an individual, but a mechanism of sorts. Think Wizard of Oz almost. A great face made of gears and mechanics and magic. Primus. Before you.
I will not do any of the ceremony or pomp and circumstance that I would usually do in his presence. I just stand there firm, almost playing chicken on who will break the silence first.
Say what it is you have come to say.
What do you have to say for yourself? For the part you play in all of this?
Have I not already given up enough? Have I already not sacrificed what I was for the part I played?
If that's what you want to tell yourself. Giving up what your penance is the great equation? Keeping it balanced?
Think about what that means, Lex. I was a god once. One who controlled time. I gave it up to try and understand that which I had banished beyond the void.
Those who you betrayed and banished beyond the void, you mean?
I am not proud of what was done. I only seek to understand it now.
Why did you make me a pawn? In your, I don't know, was it guilt? Why use me to make yourself feel better about what you did?
You are not a pawn, Lex. A pawn is a sacrificial piece in the game of chess. You were far more critical than that. A key player on the board.
Doesn't mean I hate what you made me any less.
I do not expect forgiveness. I do not expect understanding. It is what it is. It is what it will always be. Necessary.
I fought for you because I thought I was bringing balance to the world, but all I was doing was bringing balance to your mistake.
Did you not bring balance to the world?
I wouldn't have had to if you hadn't have done what you did.
We are all victims of our own choices.
Well, let me make one final choice in front of you now. I want you to know I renounce what you made me. I don't want to be what you made me become. I want to be who I am, what I should have always been. I don't want to be your champion, your equation balancer, whatever you want me to be. I want to be Lex. I want to be Alexis or Donis.
You forget your place, Alexis Ordonis. If not for me, you will be dead.
If not for me, this world would not exist. And neither would you.
So you come here to throw what? Pride? Gloating?
I just want you to know that you cannot call on me anymore. Sort out your own equations.
You always were impulsive. Petulant. What is to stop me from stripping you of the very life that was given to you?
Fear of retribution of my friends and what they would do to you in return. Look, I didn't want it to be like this. I just wanted you to know how I felt, and that I am no longer yours to command. Just, this is the least you could do for me, after all I've done for you.
And here I expected gratitude.
Ditto.
Perhaps we were both wrong in our calculations. The face turns and it looks like the eyes are almost just reading or floating through something. At this point there is the flutter of wings. Cog lights on your shoulder. Series of clicks and whirs. You understand them to be pleading, before finally resilience. How you have corrupted my creations. You with your chaos. But then perhaps chaos is what is required for balance. Is this your choice, Alexis?
Yes. And I want Cog and Axel to be free to make their own choices too.
Axel was always free to make his own choice. Cog is part of a grand, and at this point, Primus is cut off as Cog begins to whir and click. Pleading. Not pleading, but demanding independence, freedom, autonomy. Your chaos has spread further than you think. D12 Cog. I strip you of your need to march. I strip you of your need to balance. I strip you of your identity in Mechanus. You are what you will make of yourself from here on in. Alexis Ordonis. Kneel.
He will.
A number of mechanical arms begin to now fold out from the walls of this chamber. You feel the sharpest of pains at the back of your neck as these arms reach behind and something is removed. But it's in this moment as your hand instinctively reaches back. Your flesh. Scar. There was never any need for the metallic object that was on your neck. It is done.
Oh.
As you take a breath, something shifts. The logic in you is still there, but that which grounded your chronomancy, your mechanical powers, begins to subside, and instead a burst of energy blows out from you. Describe to me in this moment what your wild magic looks like.
So as it explodes out, it's almost as if all the gears in the vicinity will turn to natural objects. So they'll turn to wood, to plants, to nature. One of the random modrons will turn into a plant pot for some reason. As I roll on the Magic Wild Search table, why not? And it's almost as if it's just made of pure emotion. My emotion that's been suppressed for years, that my family and my friends have tried to pull out of me on this journey. And you'll just feel it as a wave of happiness and relief all at once.
As that wave of emotion washes out, it washes out across numerous cogs and gears and strikes one, where a tower had begun to crawl out and glass begins to form, and a glass tower rises in the center of this gear. The gear itself turns to glass. Primus's head, the mechanical head that floats. Be gone from this place, and do not return.
Gladly. And I will take Cog and Axel with me.
Cog, for a moment, turns. The eye closes, and then, in common, Cog speaks. Fuck you. And Flash joins you on your shoulder.
Mechanical finger flipping the bird as he walks off. Come on.
Axel simply turns. It is done then.
Come on, my friend. It's been too long since we've cracked a case together.
Yes. It will be good to see the world again. You step beyond the realm. Well,
I was just going to say, it's always a swear word you learn first in another language, isn't it? And Coglan, fuck you, is his first words in common. I'm proud.
Cog and Axel walk out of Mechanus with you in a portal that feels far too easy to form. But from that moment on, reaching Mechanus becomes nigh on impossible.
Lex doesn't even try.
In the years to come of the Modron March that does and is witnessed across the land every millennia. But how and why No one quite understands. We will return to you, Lex, as you travel to Oblivion Isle. But after the reunion... In fact, no, sorry. Ignore me. Jewel. Knowing what it is you want to do, there is a place you seek out first. You come over the rise, and there it is. Stonebark. The smoke from the hearths, the sound of someone calling from one end of the village to the other. Your family rolling a cart down into the city to go about their mourning, and when I say mourning, I mean mourning as in the time of the day, to reclaim their home. You stand at the edge of the path for a moment before the rest of the village really notices you. Just long enough. The village still stands. They are all still here. What do you do?
This is, I don't know, second or third sort of response to what they've done. That trophy. This village is still here, so she takes it in and is extremely happy about this. No temple via mace yet. No, just the very homely village that, for the first time, even though it is temporary, she does feel like she's coming home. Last time definitely wasn't. It was a mission, it was a goal, it was a task. So this is very nice for her to truly come back. She does let...
You will notice that the old well is broken and is actually now what was a stone well with obviously a bucket and everything is now... It looks like the stones have been piled atop it. It is sealed.
She lets everyone else go back home, but as she is here for the first time, she heads over to the graveyard outside of the village, and she goes over to where Maynora was put to rest. She will kneel down, and it is a glorious, lovely morning. The sun is through the trees. There's nothing creepy about it at all. There's no mist or anything. It's just a stunning morning. And there's actually no sadness in her at this time. And she kneels down and she says, "Well, we did it. And we have you to thank for that as well. Thank you. We couldn't have done it without you. I couldn't have done it without you." And as she says that, she's sort of twisting the dagger around in her hands. I was thinking about whether I'd leave this with you, but hey, I hope you don't mind. It's real good. I'll look after it for you. I'll tell you how I get on. I've got something I need to do. I don't ever want anyone to go through what you did. The lies and the misinformation about you. It almost ruined our friendship. I've come to realize that information is truly unbelievably powerful. So, I'm going to make sure it gets used right. I'll be thinking of you. And I'll come back. I'll see you soon.
A flurry of red leaves swirls around you in this moment before they settle on what was once the grave of Mayanora Hamela, Mayon Tissandros as she was known at one time. Tortured child laid to rest, finally.
I think also in that time, as she stands up, she may even see a glint of two eyes in the face of a dagger as she's putting them away. Only the slightest does it catch her off guard. But then she moves on. But it does start to spark something in her. And maybe that night she stays up a little longer than everyone else and will look out at the stars. On the rooftop, where she once got in trouble. Staring up at those dark stars. Dark sky.
It's the mention of eyes, the reminder. Now, as you look up at those stars, as two of those stars begin to shine brighter, and it's almost like they zoom towards you as you step, maybe for the final time, into the astral plane. Melodial.
Watcher.
I am here.
Firstly, I must thank you. You have been incredibly helpful to me. For looking after me when I was lost.
I must have been.
Thank you. I also thank you for your help in our most recent combat. Was this what you expected? What you saw? The results?
There was no one path in front of me or you, Jewel. There was a divergence of the timeline, 3 possible futures that I saw. Whether this is the right one, only time will now tell. And this I will begin to understand now as we move forward.
You showed us what happened to the Watcher. Parts you could show us. You showed us the failings of the previous gods. The hubris they showed. Far be it from me, a mere mortal, to say this, but I trust you are learning from their mistake as much as we are doing. Learn from them as well.
We are all now learning what we can from what happened. There is a shift in the world to come, Jewel. One that will be hard for the mortals of this world, but one that we feel is necessary. So this moment where you look around you, and I'm so glad you asked that question, you see the Watcher, but you also see 25 other bright points of light that almost form constellations of sorts. We, the last pantheon, has failed, has moved on, and it is now up to us. Doesn't speak to you as he says this. It is up to us to decide what happens next. If we so deem ourselves worthy enough to make that decision. I think I know what comes next, Jewel. And it will take its toll. But it is necessary.
The question that she was going to ask was the watcher in danger of the closer falls before it even reaches her mouth, when she then sees the 25 other stars and basically just goes, it'll be what it'll be, in her head. I trust I may never see you again.
It is almost as if you see the future, Jewel. I was about to say this is the last time that you and I will speak. But I want you to know that I could not have chosen a better individual to bear my burden in this fight.
It has been truly a pleasure.
You will always carry my mark and the scars of the sigil, unfortunately. Let that be a reminder of what mortals are capable of, and the decisions that have weight in this world. We can see far beyond time, beyond space. You can only see what is presented to you in a moment. And there is beauty in that.
She just bows her head, closes her eyes. And as she does, she's looking up at the stars again, with trees around her vision.
Goodbye, Jewel. And thank you.
She stays out for another hour or so, until it gets that weird misty cloudy, and then she goes back inside, and I think she sleeps very, very well.
And as you look at your family home, you look into the night sky, once again that warmth arrives. A witness. Siri. The sea at night is vast and black and entirely indifferent for you. The ship that you're on now creaks. The stars are sharp. There is no sound except the water, except the wind. And distantly, someone below decks who has not yet learned to sleep properly on a boat. There was a time, Siri, where you were afraid of the sea. no longer. You lean against the rail, you look out at nothing, and just for a moment, the silence itself feels almost like company. Your letters were received. What was in them now between you and your friends? You travel alone, occasionally, with strangers ever so often, across the sea, without fear. Siri himself appears in the margins of our story now, asking for strange tales in roadside taverns, hunting obscure books on lost gods, leaving those who prey on the weak temporarily unable to do so, spreading a single ideal, a single idea. People, not gods, have the power to do what they believe is right. Following your note to the bankers of Union City, as I've already said, in the months and the years that follow, they all become uncharacteristically fair in their contracts. Nobles begin to hear whispers of a surly elven warrior in salt-encrusted armour. Anything you would like to add in this medium term, Siri?
I think Siri travels very widely. In part, he is ensuring that his next encounter with Leshviesk, the kraken that he has been hunting, is one that does not end in tragedy or defeat. He meets many people but doesn't really bond with any. Most days he would tell himself that this was right and this was the good way of doing it. His friends, particularly really Lex and Jewel, he would never have wanted to expose to them the dangers of what he was doing for him, for some sense of family honour. But maybe at night, when he's looking out across the waves, travelling from one nowhere port to another, he'll dwell on the real reason that he doesn't want to think about, the one that he'd spoken to the Lord of Winter to try and make sense of, which is that for him, that moment of victory and that life and that happiness that he had urged Lex and Jewel to not lose in everything else would always be fleeting. To live so much longer. To him, relatively soon, his friends would be gone. And he'd stayed around, he'd had to watch it. So he tore the plaster off quickly, telling himself that he never watched them age and die, then maybe they didn't. Maybe they were still alive and happy. And sometimes he would return back to the shores, to the cities, always quietly, undercover, just to check in and make sure that the people who were running things were doing things at least within some spitting distance of right. and making sure that there was a clear impression left on them, that if they ever veered from that, there were people in the world that they would answer to. And I think he would worry that his friends couldn't forgive his disappearance. And then later he would tell himself maybe he'd not been that important. He'd been there at the right time, but he'd been a fellow traveller. But overall, he would remember what had been said when they were forming the Eclipse Sigil, and his particular temptation. And any time he felt, perhaps maybe he could go back and see people. Maybe it was time to settle. He'd remember he chose to lose them. Nothing was an accident. There was a price to be paid, and he paid it. But the bit that he would never really confront was the fact that that was a lesser price than the one that he was afraid of paying, which was watching his short-lived friends grow old and die.
Alone on deck at night, despite these feelings, this sorrow of sorts. It's been a difficult crossing this last day, but in that moment you find unexpected peace. A warmth arrives. You don't name it. You keep moving. We turn our attention to not a forgotten character, but a member who cannot be with us tonight, to Cavan. Cavan chose family over a mission. When we find Cavan, the house is quiet. His child, his son, is in his arms, so small that holding him feels like something that could simply stop. And the thought of that alone is enough to make his hand shake. Cavan looks at his face. Still to this day, does not know why he gave him the name. There's no answer to that question, and quite honestly, Cavan has stopped trying to find one. Edgius, Heron Buckland. He holds him a little bit tighter. His eyes are wet. He has no idea why. It's been a roller coaster for Cavan and Mara. He chose Mara over the mission, he chose their child over the mission, and the birth came early, premature, precarious. But both mother and child survive. When people ask about the name, both parents wave it off and move the conversation on. What happened in the Mornweald reaches Cavan's ears from others, from his friends. He learns the outcome, the cost. There is something missing from the account that should be there, but it isn't. And he cannot put his finger on what that is. As he holds young Aegeus, this small little tuft of red hair. For the first time, something about the child's face, an unexpected warmth. There's something there. Feels something watching. Something glad. He holds his son and has no idea why his eyes are wet. Lex returns to Jewel. As Jewel begins her journey to the Serpent's Cloak. Dave gives a quick rundown of what happened here.
So with her desires, she knows that they could be pushed back, but she's going to be strong with this. She searches around, she gathers information, and in very quickly connecting with people in the Serpent's Cloak, and very likely, because we know what a buyer's like, information gets around that Jewel is to be somewhat trusted. She climbs quickly through the ranks, and probably does have the odd occasional one of those weird meetings that never happens with her buyer. She's constantly trying to work with them, but she's also fairly open with those she knows that she can trust. Now, the Serpent's Cloak works in compartmentalizing, so she doesn't tell everyone, only those people she knows she can trust, that she, at the very least, liaises with the Silent Order. Those people that are in a powerful enough position that she knows that she can do this. It's not many. She's back and forth for maybe weeks and even months in the coming years. When she then spends a little more time in Union City, it's when she's created more of a settled role in the Serpent's Cloak, where she becomes more of a the information sort of transient, passing information back and forth, occasionally heading off for those missions that require it, those jobs. It may well be that it even sort of passes information to the PDA, who then go and do their own thing. It's all very intertwined, but the point is that what she's doing is she's making sure that over the years to come, the Silent Order gather information, the Serpent's Cloak gather information, and the right people end up knowing what they need to know. And when it requires more than a couple of ninjas to go and do it, the PDA go and do it. It becomes quite this intricate network that, I suppose, again, over the years, she realises just how much information flies by, and how much I've got her name. Is it Mayon?
Maynora.
Oh, not Maynora. Caverns.
You mean... Oh, Mara.
Mara. Thank you, Mara. Just how Mara was doing it. It kind of... She was like, this is... Like, how does she ever do this? Because, again, she realises she doesn't know everything that both sides know, the Silent Order and the side at Serpent's Cloak. She never can. But she realises that she is that key instrument between the two, more heavily on the Serpent's Cloak side, and the Serpent's Cloak definitely line up in a moral compass better than with the PDA, even though Jewel herself is a moral compass for the Serpent's Cloak.
it is that through line that you never really say aloud. Mayanora herself died in a fog of misinformation, and this is the answer now. There's a feeling of it never being enough, but it will save lives that Jewel will never even know about. And with Jewel's career now established, built a life with Lex.
Yes. Once that is established, she does find the time to be able to make a family. The safe in the knowledge that she can also do the same.
There's a moment where you're in the middle of some complex intelligence work, and a moment where it's just going well. You pause and look up for a moment. Smile briefly at nothing but a sense of warmth. Lex, in the immediate aftermath as you return to Jewel, not only do you accompany her to the cloak, but you also return to Sibylare, your home. The forging of the teleportation circles is long, it is arduous. It takes more than anybody would have imagined it would have in these moments. Something in the world has shifted, but eventually it clicks and you're able to return to your family.
And it's at this point, ever since his return from Mechanus, Lex will dress in the more traditional UNT garb and clothing, and he will actually adorn all of his sending stones that he has for various people to like a belt or like a satchel strap, so they are always there in case they ring or he needs them. So he has a physical reminder of them being there. He will also, over time, begin to grow out his ceremonial braid again that he had cut off previously to hark back to how he used to be. So, and I would like to think that when he goes back to Salabar to be with his brother and his mother, seeing Lex as he was or should be would help bring his mother out of her catatonic state and get her on the road to recovery. And she'll become more compos mentis as time goes on.
She does. Slowly and surely, your mother returns to herself, and you and Silas reconcile in the memory that while your father may have passed, your mother's strength returns. Whether they choose to remain in Sibylare is your choice, my friend. Whether they return with you.
I think that Silas would remain because he has his duty as the head of that hunter protection group. But the baton for caring for Mother will pass to me after all this time. I think that's only fair. So she'll return to the Bastion with me, to Union City. But I would also, because I have work to do in Union City, because I would also like to use Jules' network of information, because Lex will have a new hobby. Under the authority of the PDA, Lex will almost diligently, almost obsessively, some would say, track, or as best he can, track the movements of the closer, making sure he keeps his word, he doesn't stray from the path, start acting with vengeance, causing havoc. But then as the trust builds and the influence or interference of the gods starts to wane, so will Lex's interest in tracking it any longer.
Lex, I have another one for you. Shall we go tomorrow morning? Handing you a note.
I think it's time I left it alone now. I think my focus should be 100% on us.
Okay. I'll pass it off to the night crew.
No, I'll dispose of it, and I'll read it quickly before I put it in the bed. Just to double check. Which you 100% notice.
You monitor Aelfas, the closer, methodically in whatever way you can, almost obsessively, as you mentioned there at first, tracking every report, every rumour. Over years, as nothing comes, that obsession wanes. It's almost like a trust that builds slowly over time, but you never truly fully stop. You made a promise to Cavan, and you are ever present in Little Edge's life. Steady, warm, occasionally baffling. Sometimes you look at the boy with an expression that nobody can quite read. As you read that report, under the clean report, late at night after Jules handed it to you, there's a moment of quiet satisfaction and then a feeling. You look up at nothing, and for whatever reason, you just say quietly, I know. Over time between you and Jewel, the Planar Detective Agency grows and becomes the Ardalian Detective Agency.
Yes.
An organisation that operates beyond borders. Union City grows, becomes less of a city and more of a state.
A certain amount of guilt from the crew probably means that we do pump quite a considerable amount more of the resources available to us to recovering Kedmir.
100%. We'll set up whatever version of the Red Cross is for them.
Basically, yeah.
We will come to that. Sir, you carry an ideal like a lantern. You defend villages only if they then agree to defend themselves. You offer forgiveness only to those who prove it. A ghost of the PDA's values. Present in effects, invisible, in person. You are careful over the years not to make friends. That's the price you pay now. Any loss is on your terms. The only kind you feel fitting to bear. For whatever reason, there's one thing you always carry on you, hidden away in a small pocket. A moon petal. You can't explain it. You don't understand why, but it's just something you've never thrown away. One night as you hold that moon petal in the firelight, a warmth arrives, stronger than usual. You hold it up to the moonlight and say nothing for a long time. Cavan, within weeks of the return of Aelfas, immediately volunteers at an after-school club for wayward boys. Doesn't have to work. Works anyway. Years pass. Promotions he didn't ask for. He becomes headmaster with grey in his hair. He never gives up self-defense and the club that he builds. He teaches two things. When to respect an adversary and when, if truly pushed, to put them down. And the children love him for never lying about which is which. Little Edge is a precocious, outrageous, funny child. Funnier in a way than any child really has a right to be. There's moments where Cavan ends up on the floor laughing at him regularly, and sometimes without warning he will watch his son and begin to weep. Can I explain it? There's a hole somewhere deep and old. Takami's child grows up alongside Little Edge. Something like cousins, almost like siblings. Takami's child has a full red mohawk. No one can explain that choice either. When party members pass through, when you pass through, the talk is warm and fond. There are always silences, however, too. Something is always just slightly missing from the room. You can't name it. Nobody can. Across the world, things begin to change. In Gildorn, continues to be this trade hub and buffer zone between east and west, each city now governed by an emir. Regularly, those emirs meet as the Majlis of Gildorn. Studied neutrality becomes its greatest strategic asset. Dryamere, the region becomes a place of extraordinary natural beauty. The druids tap deeper than ever into the natural weave beneath magic now. But by being able to wield power, eventually they become targets for it. Slowly but surely, the druids recede into secluded groves. The Drymerian region is claimed, or reclaimed, I should say, by the elves, the half-elves, the humans, the tabaxi that live there. But that central tree in Dryad's Gate every night continues to glow green. Kedmir, the kingdom that was left for dead, closes its borders tightly and remembers. King Ottoman Corvid rises from a devastated royal line, a paladin who found solace in Sharon, god of death and renewal, a god that becomes the central deity of Kedmir. His son, Regman II, eventually ascends. The detective agency is banned, a ban that is never lifted. Union
It's all about first
City
impressions.
expands outward in the aftermath of the Shrouded Lord's incursion. It becomes a central point within NOF, binding the various kingdoms, the various regions. The Black Veil name and the Ardalian Detective Agency becoming an anchor within it, and eventually it becomes Unity State, a collection of cities, towns and villages within the centre of NOF. It is at this point, my friends, we begin to come to our close. I am going to narrate this, but I will allow you in moments to have your own inputs as well, with you all having sent me these notes now. Lex, eventually, you hang up your adventuring boots. You become a board member of the Ardalian Detective Agency, consultancy only, of course. You build a life with the jewel. Populated. Real. Danny, what would you say is Lex's life from here on in? What is his defining characteristic?
I think it's just one of, not teaching, but just guidance to all of the children he now, so Takami's kid, Cavan's kid, Lex's and Jules' kids, just teaching them to be themselves. That's going to be his core thing now. Be true to yourself, be true to your emotions, don't suppress it. Just almost like a mental health well-being life coach type guy, in a way, to his friends and family, because he's suppressed all of his emotions so long. He wants to take everybody else on that journey, because ultimately that is balance to him.
Indeed, and I imagine embrace the chaos becomes something of a mantra to...
Oh, you give him a couple of ales and the chaos comes out. He's one of those guys where there's a work Lex and there's an out of work Lex. An out of work Lex is fucking brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a side of Lex that comes out that you haven't seen. There's party Lex. Upside down keggers Lex, you know what I mean?
The years, however, pass as Lex's life draws to a close. Jewel honors a request to take him back to Sibilari. There is Yuan-Ti ceremony, traditional, full. And in the moment that Lex passes, a surge of wild magic returns to the earth. Visibly, briefly, beautifully uncontrolled. Colours wreathe the sky and the air above the village. Trees grow and fruit begins to form on trees that should not bear fruit. A wave of energy is gone before anybody can describe it. What does Jewel do in these final moments?
At this age, Jewel is definitely elderly. A lot of grey, where there used to be a lot of black. She's long retired at this point. Never really given up the information gathering. At this point, they had retired to their secluded keep somewhere between once Union City, and Stonebark. And she'd created this incredible archive from the bastion they had, from the information that she's gathered, and also from the library that she got from her late mum. It's a hidden gem of information that no one knows about truly. When Lex passes, she's much more... She doesn't hide her emotions, she's just settled with them over the many years. She's very sad when Lex goes. But she does also smile, looking back on the wonderful years that they had. And so she sits on this log with a walking stick that was crafted out of the jungle trees, and she just puts both of her hands on top and she watches this wild magic surge, and is just so grateful that she got to spend the most incredible years with this quirky guy that was once really looked like she had this walking stick up his ass, and just loved every year and decade. As she looks up, of course she's heartbroken, but she looks so happy to have been with him.
Can I add a little
In his...
something?
Of course you can.
With the children that Lex and Jewel had, one of Lex's hidden fears that Jewel probably read on his face was he was worried that his kids would have to go through what he went through with his wild magic. But as the fates would have it, none of their children inherited any of his powers. So when that wild magic returned to the earth, it's as if that magic from the bloodline was seemingly dissipated forever. Who knows what will happen in the future? Maybe somebody had to die for it to pass to somebody else. We'll find out in campaign 7.
Closing moment. In his last days, something peaceful. A warmth arrives one final time, fuller than it had ever been before, as if whatever has been watching was very close. And as Lex closes his eyes, he is at last entirely himself. Jewel retires to the countryside eventually. A large house, a library, an archive of a life spent in the gaps between official histories. A resource for the organizations that she has shaped now. Jewel, with her walking stick, dies and passes surrounded by a living and loving family. Surrounded by those that she loves and those that love her, at peace, in the place where things grow, just like her mother. Dave, is there anything final you would like to add?
I think she is carried from their home, which is some way out of Stonebark, but still she feels like it's part of Stonebark. And she's carried back to Stonebark, past this incredible temple and statue of Mace. The way she's carried back is very similar to those rituals that she knew, where everyone painted a stone. She's carried in these incredible colours of blankets and flowers around her. She's placed with the rest of her family.
On that final night in the library, on an evening late with the fire low, you read something old. As you read it, a warmth arrives, and with it, something that almost feels like recognition. You look over at an empty chair. You hold a gaze that isn't there for the moment before you smile and go back to your book. Eventually your eyes close. And so Jewel of Shadows passes from this world. Dave?
As I look over at that empty chair, I just go, it's been a long time since I've seen you. Goodness. And then goes back to her book.
Cavan grows older in the school he runs. The grey in the hair deepens. The boys always return. The self-defense club itself never has a substitute teacher. It is always him. Slowly but surely the muscles begin to grow weary. The bones begin to ache. Cavan passes peacefully after a life of torment and chaos, but a life that ended with beauty and family and love. His wife, Mara, mourns his passing, knowing it was coming, her beauty remaining due to her shadow elf heritage. She continues to mourn for the remainder of her days. She always wore black, but the black she now wears is a constant reminder of a love that she will never find again. And indeed, she never tries. Young Aegeus becomes a confident, rambunctious boy who becomes a man, follows in his father's footsteps, being a bastion of honor and justice within Union City. As Cavan spends an ordinary day at school, watching the boys in the yard, something small that they've done well, a warmth arrives. Unexplained tears. One of his students asks him if he's alright, and he just laughs and says, "Someone's watching out for his kid." He has no idea why he said that, but it felt true. The one ending I am not going to read. I am not going to narrate. Because there is no ending. It's Siri's. Instead, Steve, I hand this one to you.
No pressure. So, Siri is standing on a remote, barren shoreline. Howling gale. There's a squall. The rain is sideways. There's a wrecked longboat on the rocks nearby. He looks older, carrying the weight of not just the years. And he looks out to sea as if he's straining to see something that you can only see if you have the right kind of eyes. And that's a world that's long before the one he knew. 100, 200 years, maybe more. He's lost count. Much has changed. Much has been lost. But he knows his role. He's waited before, and he will doubtless wait again, carrying the memory and spreading it. And he just stares into the distance for a while, and then glances down at his hand, and in his palm the concentric rings that he's carved there, just scars now. Years and years have passed. Clasped between his fingers there's a single moon petal that he's always carried with him. He looks back up. He casts the petal into the wind and just stares into the distance and says, "I know you live well, my friends. So others could. There will be other times that the memory remains." And he steps forward and walks out into the sea, and he starts to swim.
The shore, the wind. Siri completely still in that moment, and then one last time before you step into the sea, the warmth. Stronger than it ever was before, closer than it has ever been. You don't turn around, you look quietly to the sea and smile, almost as if saying, "I know you're there." Nothing answers. The warmth doesn't leave. And we fade on Siri. From here on in, time moves differently. We are no longer in days or seasons. We are now in ages. The faces you have known begin to recede. Not yet gone, but distant, as if seen through water. What was new becomes established. What was established becomes tradition. What was tradition becomes history. What was history becomes simply the way things are. The world that you built is settling into itself. and it is here that we see what it becomes. The end for the old pantheon came swiftly, not with thunder. They simply stopped answering. Prayers went unreturned. Within a generation, the gods who shaped the old world are gone from it entirely. What fills the space now is slower, quieter, and more honest. The new Ardalian pantheon does not announce itself, it is already there. Nimue in the wild places, Charon at the threshold of endings, Paragon in the shadow of Stonebark's vigil, Aeonius in the turn of seasons. These gods that made themselves known through the events of our campaign, they do not recede the way the old ones did. Centuries pass, even these gods grow quieter, not absent but distant. Aelthas watches from the edge of things as he always did. The Watcher, Aeonius, young, warned, tends his domain, with the caution jewel pressed into him. Direct divine contact becomes extraordinary, a matter of legend rather than daily practice. Folk religion begins to fill the gaps now, local, polytheistic, seasonal. The harvest belonging to one deity, a wedding to another, a funeral to another still, not organised, but hierarchical, but true. Magic begins to wane alongside direct divinity, but into the vacuum, new powers rise. Warlocks. The Fae grow bolder, fiends test old boundaries, something is offering power directly and people take it. Through wars and political changes, Unity State holds and remains Enoeth's anchor. The ADA becomes something most people even know by reputation without knowing the true origin. There is a desk in the headquarters that is always kept perpetually clear, yet no one can explain why. Kedmir closes and stays closed. Ottoman Corvid rules with the calm of a man who made peace with mortality. His son, Regman II, inherits a kingdom that found its identity in a wound. The PDA band, the ADA band, a ban that is never lifted. But in private, Ottoman keeps a record, what they did and what they do. Not forgiveness, but memory. In Gildorn, each Emir governs their city, meeting in formal council as we've said. Trade routes hold. That studied neutrality, as we said, becomes its greatest asset as wider politics begin to grow complicated. Nyalin holds under House Splinterthorn until a generation when Splinterthorn and Thunderhand unite through marriage. The descendants of Dargon and Ander from an earlier age, two lines becoming one. In the kingdom of Jan that becomes Karagjan, the dwarves emerge from their mountain holds, stronger, more unified, having spent a generation consolidating what was always theirs. Dryamir continues to glow with a green light at its central heart, and the vigil of Paragon stands at Stonebark. Mace not aging the way others age, standing at that entrance, still, silent, something between man and monument. The world you helped make is the world's foundation now. Most people don't know that, and most people don't need to. this world will change as we enter into campaign 3. But we will talk about more of that as we move forward. Edius, you go last because you see everyone else first. Somewhere between what was, what is, there is a space that has no geography, nothing that any living map could name, but from somewhere that you watch. You have been watching for a long time. You cannot reach through, you cannot speak, you can only see. And what you see is Jewel in a moment of purposeful work, something small, a habit she picked up from you without realizing, a gesture, an instinct, unmistakably yours. How does Edgius feel?
Jewel was Edgius's yin to yang. Jewel was the moral compass to Edgius's unabashed dive in head first chaos, and for her to have picked up anything from him where he learned so much from her is just the greatest honor he could feel.
You see Lex in a quiet moment, probably with Cog, maybe with his mother, and again, there's something there, quirk, something inherited, something of Edgius still reflected in the way Lex operates. How does Edgius feel?
Cavan was there for Edgius before anyone else, but Lex saw Edgius. He never dismissed one of Edgius's crazy convoluted plans. He never said no to one of his stupid ideas in the middle of a battle. If anything, Lex was the fire that emboldened Edgius's chaos and wonder, and Lex championed him more than anyone. He will never forget laughing with Lex when he was basically a rock with zero emotions, and he will remember laughing with Lex when he was a person who felt every single word. And I guess he just feels glad to have met someone who saw him. Yeah, that's probably it.
Someone you didn't know for long, but had met and become part of the group. You see Siri on the sea, the salt armor, and the solitudes, carrying himself the way he does when he thinks no one is watching. How does Edgius feel?
Before Cavan, before any of that, before even Calvin / Klein, Edgius was by himself. He did his work alone as a detective. He studied by himself. He followed clues by himself, and he did it all by himself. The fact that Suri was left once again by himself breaks Edgius's heart over and over again. I think he spends a lot of time watching Suri because it's those dark defenders, those silent guardians that really make the change for the small people. yes, the PDA did great things, but without those ideals being carried forward for generations to come, the PDA really would have been nothing. So he feels proud to have known a person who could finally find some peace with people, but then carry the burden of the whole team going forward.
The hardest scene for you to witness is watching Cavan, Takami, Mara, and the kids. You witness both families together. Edgius, Heron, Buckland, Takami's child with the red mohawk, laughing, chaotic, impossible. Cavan on the floor, losing his literal mind at something that little Edge has done. You see it all. You cannot be in it. You cannot reach through. You can only watch the love and happiness that exists because of what you gave. And this now is the full weight of what it has cost you. And the floor to you.
It's grief, it's love, it's happiness, it's all the conflicting emotions that one can feel watching something that is so pure and perfect while not being able to indulge in that moment with those people. He loves Cavan and is proud of the man that he became. He was lost for so long, and for him to find himself is just pure hard work and grit and determination and the swing of a fucking big hammer. And, Mara, I'm glad that someone, again, finally was able to take my mantle of being Cavan's bitch, because fucking someone needed to step into Edgius's shoes of being there for him, doing his laundry, caring for that guy, and making sure his depression didn't get out of hand with silly jokes and the wry smile and, a hug here or there. But Takami, he hurts. He feels pain. He left her with the biggest task you could leave a person with. To raise the next generation properly. To give them the tools to be a good person. And Edgius, having done everything he did for his son and his wife, having left a child and a partner behind, it breaks him over and over and over again, and it hurts him. But man, that kid's gonna be a fucking great singer one day. And God, if Takami's multiple arms weren't great for discipline, I don't know what would be. And it's truly it's magical to spectate unyielding, never-ending love. So though he looks on and wishes he could be there, he knows that those people are doing the best that they can, and they always will do, till the end of time.
Finally, for Edgius comes a different kind of seeing. The sky with no particular name, water so still that it could be glass or memory or both, and a terrible little rowboat. Not a beautiful one. This is the kind with peeling paint and oar that catches wrong, drifting on that still water. 3 figures in an afternoon with no particular hour to it. Calvin, who does not remember being Klein, having a beer and laughing. Aaron is learning to fish as you teach him. Nobody's talking about anything important. A good afternoon. These are your boys. What happens?
I like to think that we bribed Charon for a little boys fishing trip on this particular weekend, and the fisherman, the boatman, granted me such due to an old standing relationship that I had with him. And we ride the Of Shadows. That's what our boat is called. And this rickety handcrafted piece of shit that we made in my living room. And it leaks a little bit, but just not fast enough for us to be able to stay out in the water. And we fish. And we laugh about the good old days. And Calvin talks about, this girl that I once did this. And, Edge berates him for talking about a woman in such a way, and then looks at his son with a raised eyebrow. Something comes over Edgius in this moment. He's waited a long time, and he finally feels like the moment is right. He turns to his son and he goes, "Look, I know you hate my ridiculous stories, but while we're here and we've got nothing the fuck better to do, how about I just tell you one more?" So, our story begins when your dad, me, the legendary Bard of Enoeth, savior of Ardalia, and his best friend, Gavin, stumble through the woods and bump into this very strange snake man who, hey, this is in the margins, had 2 dicks. I swear down, 2 dicks. And this majestic cat woman who, for all intents and purposes, definitely was not a fan of me, but that changed over time. And son, let me tell you, the things that this group achieved were legendary. So, let me tell you the story of the Planar Detective Agency. And behind Heron's back, him and Calvin cheers their beers. And he begins rattling off the greatest tale anyone has ever heard about the greatest people who lived in the greatest time that there ever was. And I'll pass back to you, Matt.
That boat sails across the river. Slowly but surely we fade to black. And this is where we close, my friends. Some stories end. Some stories settle. They settle into the places and people that carried them into the walls of a library in the countryside, into the wood of a school desk, worn smooth by decades of restless boys, into the salt crust on a warrior's armour, into the wild flash of colour above a village that nobody could quite describe afterwards. They settle into a child's name that nobody can explain, into tears on the face of a man who doesn't know why, into a moon petal that has never been thrown away until a final moment, into an empty chair looked at warmly across a dying fire. The world moves on. It always does. Kingdoms will rise, gods grow quiet. The name above the door changes, but the work continues. Finding what is lost, protecting what matters, holding the line between the world as it is and the world as it could be. But before the world moves on, it was held for a time by a group of people who had no particular reason to trust each other. Every reason to walk away, and they didn't. A detective, a soldier, a wanderer, a sorcerer, a bard. One who gave everything so the rest could keep going. You were not chosen. You were not destined. You simply decided again and again, in small moments and big ones, that this mattered. That the people around you mattered. That this was all worth it. And that's the whole story, really. Dressed up in kingdoms, in void liches, in windswept shores, in terrible little rowboats. But at its heart, it's just that. People who decided it was worth it. And so my friends here, around this virtual table of ours, so did you. Every session, every plan that fell apart, every dice roll, every character you have built and broken and grew and grieved, you showed up. You trusted each other, and you made something real out of nothing but imagination and good faith. This is the oldest thing that people know how to do, and you did it so well. The PDA found what was lost, protected what mattered, and so did you. So thank you for this one. My players, my friends, my brothers, thank you for this. We will leave campaign 2 here, but it has been an honour to be your game master.
Thank you for being our game master.
Oh, that last bit got me, you bastard.
And we'll fucking do it again.
I need so
I'm
much
not-
water.
We
I'm
will
so
indeed.
dehydrated
I will
from
never
crying
emotionally
for the last
recover
3
from this
minutes.
yet.
Look, I know we've gone on a little bit longer than planned there, but it's so worth it. I have a few thank yous I do need to say just before we do close, which are to Josh from Malt Together,
Yes,
to
thank you,
Tom from Homie and the Dude, to Nikki from Mystic Quill, to Fletch from from the Eldritch Press. I almost forgot one then, and then also to Paul, to Peter, everybody who has joined us on this crazy journey. What a campaign we have told, what a story we have told, even what a campaign we have played. As I said, an absolute honor, but thank you to all the support, thank you to all the fans, thank you to everybody who's watched, commented, liked, subscribed, followed, donated throughout this period. Has been an immense honor from myself, from all of us here. This is not the end. Campaign 3 is coming later this year. But in the meantime, there are horrors to behold. as we play something a little bit differently in a few weeks' time. More details to come. Closing thoughts from my friends then. Dave?
I'm going to spend the week going through the 5 stages of grief, but it was well worth it to have an incredible end. So thank you to you, Matt. Thank you to also the other players, because we do this because we love it.
Danny?
I just have 3 words. We nailed it.
Steve?
Well, I know fuck a lot of you, really. That was...
Steve has felt things.
I think we broke him. I think we broke him. Oh.
As I've said all along, thank you for bringing me along for the ride, and yeah, it's been an absolute fucking pleasure. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Danny.
Thank you, my friend.
It has been excellent.
Bodhi, then.
Dude, I fucking love everyone here at this table, and I love the stories that we told. I love the dice rolls that we fucked. I love the overlays that Dave makes. I love the fucking incredible music that we have here every week. I love playing in person when we do it. Man, there's a reason we all keep coming back, and it's because it's fucking special. And goddamn, was campaign 2 fucking special. Thanks, Steve, for coming in and just bringing some unreal energy that was fucking incredible. And some of the best monologues and character decisions I've seen along this journey. Danny, thank you for always going with my crazy fucking ideas, bouncing lightning bolts off of swords and fucking combining chromatic orbs and all manner of chaos that we did. And Dave, thank you for always being the character that kept Edgius on track. And thank you for, dude, just the repartee that we had as characters was some of my favorite I've ever had.
Challenge.
It was a great fucking journey, dude, for you and I. No, and most of all, Matt, dude, I hope you go home and, log off tonight proud, because you are an incredible storyteller, and it was woven beautifully. And, dude, I've never done anything for 119 times across 2 fucking years with fucking the same fucks every fucking week. Like, it's all because of this. So thank you, Matt. And, no. Campaign 3, bitches. I can't wait.
Indeed. Well, there we go then, my friends. That is Campaign 2. We will break everything down next week in our special edition of Malt, Magic and Roll. So if you've got any questions, any comments, any feedback, then that is the time to let us know. We will be here on Twitch, on YouTube. But yeah, I think with that being said, then we love you all so very much. Stay safe, and we will see you in the next campaign.